The Canes are back at it once again for a 2006 Stanley Cup rematch in oil country to face the Edmonton Oilers. What are the big things Hurricanes fans should look at as we get ready to resume the 6-game road trip for your Carolina Hurricanes?
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everyday for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hot Guards. I also do a column on the Chicago Wolves. I am the co-host of the Surge Cast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun show for you guys on a Tuesday as we get to listen to Rod Brind'Amour's press conference following practice on Monday as the team is in Edmonton to get ready for their Tuesday night game against the Edmonton Oilers to kick off the Western Canada part of their road trip. Also get to preview the Hurricanes and Oilers game, and then also we're going to talk about the keys to the game and the players to watch. But before we jump into all that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So like I said, we are going to jump into the Rod Brind'Amour press conference as he met with media after their practice on Monday, getting ready to ramp up for their Western part of Canada trip against the Edmonton Oilers on Tuesday. So without further ado, let's jump into that press conference with Rod Brind'Amour right now.
Facing this team that has top talent, just the way you're able to shut down Pittsburgh, what's kind of just the goal of being able to do so many opportunities?
Yeah, it's it's always an interesting challenge when you play these guys. Just obviously the nature of two of the best players maybe ever. I mean, they're that good, and it's just kind of sometimes it's a bit of a random game that way. You know they're on the ice. You can do everything right, and they're going to find a way to make things happen. So it's not beating yourselves, number one. Make it a challenge when they get the puck. Try to play in their end as much as possible, and understand that they are going to make their plays. And so it's an interesting game that way.
There's no advantages of being on the road for a lengthy trip like this, but anything that's helpful, just having that extra day of rest yesterday.
Well, you play back-to-back. To be honest, I'd love to be playing right now, just because anything to shorten the lengths of these road trips, especially early in the year, where I think guys would actually rather just keep rolling the games out. But so I don't know. Definitely don't think it's an advantage other than you get a good practice in, which this time of year you got to take advantage of that.
If you're going to take a long road trip, is it good to take it at the beginning of the year? Get guys.
Everyone likes to get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Because there are advantages to just January, February. Those are the dog days, and you don't want to be on the road if you don't have to be.
Yeah.
So everyone's still excited about the season. Everyone's excited to get going. So I think that helps to have these kind of road trips early.
I want to ask you about Jackson Blake, and obviously he's off to a good start. Put up some good numbers in college. How have you seen? What has he shown so far?
He's just continued his progression. It's you don't want to. It's still early, but forget the points, and they scored a couple goals. It's really is impactful. You notice him out there, and he doesn't look out of place. That's for sure. And it takes time usually coming from college, but that college game is really a great, I'd say, kind of learning area to get that next step. Some guys, you just come right out of there because they are playing against men. Yeah. And now the game, the speed, he's adjusted really well. And obviously we got to, hopefully that keeps continuing because he's looked really good.
It's different in that regard from junior, right?
Yeah.
Because the college guys are probably more NHL ready.
100%. I mean, the college game definitely prepares you to play in the NHL sooner.
Yeah.
Just the nature of you're not playing 16-year-olds, you're playing against 22, 23-year-olds who are fully grown men, and the pace and everything is just and the environment. You get a lot more practice time. It definitely, I think, sets guys up a little quicker coming out of. But obviously, the junior kids, you can play junior at 16. There's your trade-off.
Yeah. I imagine your team is similar to the Oilers, where there's not a lot of room for younger players, the rookie players. So him to come in here as a rookie guy, make your team, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he earned it. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he pushed guys that are NHL guys out of a spot, and that's kudos to him and the work he put in this summer, because we didn't know coming in how it was going to shake out, but he's definitely earned the position.
With Shane Gostisbehere quarterbacking the power play, what do you notice about what he's able to do with his control and entries?
Well, he's a smart, offensive-minded player, and he's got that, he's got a little of that flair, offensive flair. Understands how power plays work, understand where the pressure's coming from, all these little things that just help, when he's out there. We knew that already. I mean, we had him before, and there's nothing that he's doing now that's not surprising.
How much was the fact that he was here before kind of has him really up to speed now at the start of the year?
Well, I think just system-wise, for sure. We didn't change much over the last couple of years, but I think certain guys, their styles fit really well. And I think he's still. I think there's an area of the game he can still be sharper at, but I think overall, both that pair has been really solid for us coming in as new guys, if you will. They've really done a nice job.
You remember the 1,000-point club, Connor McDavid's getting there at 600. I think he's at 650 games, 12 points away. Just one, how special is it to be part of that club, and two, how impressive is it he's done as fast as he's done?
Yeah, well, I guess that's the more impressive thing. I mean, it's a big milestone. I mean, listen, you gotta be a good player to get 1,000 points, and then you gotta be around, and that's another, I think, thing, obviously, and to do it as early as he done. I mean, he's an elite player, and maybe, like I said early in this interview, it's like when it's all said and done, is he going to be the best player ever? That's high praise with the guys of Gretzky and these guys, which no one ever thought you could ever even fathom putting that in that category. But just the way that he dominates a game, it's very similar, right? And that's where everybody's here, and then there's that, and that's pretty special.
Big thank you to Rod Brind'Amour and the Carolina Hurricanes for all of that. And yeah, it's very interesting when you go, and I think the one main point for Rod coming away from this one is the fact that, you would love to shorten the road trips and get these games a lot done sooner and all of that. But also, too, when you look at, when your next opponent is the Edmonton Oilers, right now they're not on paper doing great in terms of the record, but you still have guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl who are still, the top two of the top five players in the NHL, and anything can really happen. We saw that last year when they went to go play in Edmonton, and they scored pretty quickly and kind of blew that game out right from the jump. So it's definitely something where you would love to not have to wait around for a couple extra days and get these games over with, so that way you're not gone for 12 days. But it's understandable too when you have to worry about road. You're having to travel, especially when you're going from St. Louis, Missouri to Edmonton, Alberta. You have to go through customs and everything else like that. You're kind of having to get used to different time zones and getting ready, and that's just how the schedule is. So it'll be interesting for sure. It's good to get the rest for those guys who might be a little tired after playing a back-to-back against Pittsburgh and St. Louis. It's good to have those couple of, that extra day off, outside of just the travel day to get ready. So, 2 days off, you go right back into it, and you have every other day off in between Edmonton through the Canucks game. But I can understand where Rod's coming from, where it's like, they want to be playing now, but also there's that aspect of, you have to rest up because, you don't want to burn your guys out so quick where you're playing. We saw it last year where it was like, 14 games in 20-something days. It's like, you really don't want to do something like that. So it's just, getting some rest, getting geared up and get ready to go. And then, of course, like you said, with the Edmonton Oilers, that's a team that you really don't want to overlook, even with their record, because they still have game changers that you have to focus on and stuff like that, which we'll talk about more here on segment 2 and segment 3. But it's definitely, it's one of those things where you're kind of getting ready to go, and you got some guys that are clicking early, like Jackson Blake and all of them, and Shane Gostisbehere. So hopefully you kind of keep that momentum going and just get ready for another matchup, because everyone's looking at the Edmonton Oilers to be a Stanley Cup favorite, and they had a slow start last year and kind of picked it up as the season went along. So maybe it's just another slow start for those guys who had a shorter offseason due to playing, in the Stanley Cup final a week before free agency started on July 1st. But yeah, it's one of those things where you don't really want to overlook them. Like I said, they still got McDavid and Draisaitl, and let's not forget Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman and all that too. So it's definitely an interesting game for sure. And speaking of which, we are going to go into segment 2. We're going to be previewing the Hurricanes and the Oilers game. So stick around as we'll start that preview here in a second on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Where can you do that? Well, you can do that at FanDuel.com. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. And like I said at the end of segment 1, we're going to start previewing the game against the Edmonton Oilers. It'll be a 9 p.m. puck drop for the East Coast, and the game will be on the FanDuel Sports Network South. It's what it's called now. So nothing's really changed. It's just under a new name now. It's just FanDuel Sports Network South instead of Bally South. Carolina Hurricanes 2-2 right now. The Oilers are 2-4, so same number of points. But the Oilers have played 6 games to the Carolinas 2. This is the first of a 2-game season series where the next game will be on March 1st, where the Edmonton Oilers come to Carolina. But like I said, this game is at 9 p.m. puck drop. In terms of points, Connor McDavid, no shocker, leads the team in points with 6. Andrei Svechnikov leads the team with 4. And in terms of goals, Shane Gostisbehere and Leon Draisaitl both lead their teams with 3. And then in assists, Andrei Svechnikov leads the team with 3 assists, so 3 of his 4 are all assists. And then Connor McDavid with 5. So 5 of his 6 points are all assists, and he has 1 goal, surprisingly enough so far, but that could definitely change. In terms of goaltending, Frederik Andersen 1-1 with a 1.53 goals against and a .936 save percentage. And then Pirkka Chekhov 1-1 with a .305 goals against and an .867 save percentage, of course. That came after stopping 15 of 19 against the St. Louis Blues, where he had a sub-800. And in terms of goaltending for the Edmonton Oilers, Stuart Skinner 1 for 3 with a .403 goals against and an .851. And then Calvin Pickard's 1-1 with a .328 goals against and an .852 save percentage. They've recently lost to the Dallas Stars after beating Nashville and Philadelphia in overtime. And of course, for the Hurricanes, beat New Jersey, beat Pittsburgh, and then lost in St. Louis on the back half of a back-to-back. But in terms of goaltending, they did go with Piotr against the Blues. I'm curious to see if they're going to go back to Frederik Andersen for the Edmonton Oilers. Should be interesting how that works out, given that Freddie played very, very well against Pittsburgh in that first half of a back-to-back. In terms of the Edmonton Oilers, right now the goaltending is very shaky. Both goalies at around a .85 save percentage and goals against that are above 3 and also above 4. So if I'm the Carolina Hurricanes, I really want to jump on the Edmonton Oilers right now. They've won 2 of their last 3, but in fact they're 2-4 right now, and they are very struggling. And especially when we look here in the stats, if I'm the Carolina Hurricanes, I want to jump on these guys really fast and catch some momentum back before you start the rest of the trip, especially when you got the red-hot Calgary Flames coming up on Thursday. In terms of the power play, the Carolina Hurricanes are 9th in the league at 25%, which is really good compared to the fact that the Edmonton Oilers are right now 30th in the power play at 6.7%. Penalty kill, while the Hurricanes' penalty kill has gotten better, they've gone 9 for 9 in the last couple of games. They are at 83.3%, which puts them 12th in the league. And compared to the Edmonton Oilers, who are at a 55% penalty kill, that is dead last in the league. Face-off percentage, Carolina is 14th at 50.4%, while the Edmonton Oilers lead the league at 57%. Goals for, Hurricanes 17th with 3 a game. The Edmonton Oilers 30th with 2 a game. And then goals allowed, this is something that can really benefit the Hurricanes. They've only given up 2.75 goals per game. That's 9th best in the league. The Edmonton Oilers have given up 4 goals per game, and that is 27th. So as of right now, when you look at just the stats in terms of those categories right now, just an overall team, the Carolina Hurricanes, while we are all kind of, some people are kind of worried after the first game, some have like their not so great feelings after the Blues game. Right now, I would almost feel like you should be feeling better than Edmonton Oilers fans right now for the fact that everyone's picked them to win the Cup. Yes, they had a slow start last year, but right now this is a game where you really want to catch them just on their back foot. Yes, you're going to be facing an angry Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. But if you look at the fact that the goaltending is above a 3 and above a 4 for both of their netminders, and in terms of across the board stats wise, not so very good for the fact that you look at the Edmonton Oilers and they are overall outs. The only categories they're really good in right now is their faceoff percentage, and that's first. Everything else, it's 27th or worst in the league. For the Hurricanes, your worst stat is goals for with 3, and that's at 17. Everything else is 9, 12, 14, and 9. So really, you're still at the top half of the league in all your categories for the most part. And you're like one spot off for goals for. But if you got a team like Edmonton who's really struggling at 2 and 4, haven't really found their footing, and they're 27th or worse in every stat category. Yes, like I said, every game you don't want to overlook it, especially when you got guys like that on the other side. But honestly, this is one where you should really get a win and really come out of that, like bandits, and just take one out of Edmonton. Get you fired up for Calgary, and hopefully kind of start a nice little run to finish off the rest of the trip. Because when you're facing a team that's struggling as much as they are in terms of how their goaltending is, and just like I said, you look at the stats. That's something where if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, you need to go into that game guns blazing, getting ready to go, and just take out oil country at this point and go get a W, because that's all you can really do. Would I be okay with the point? Sure, but no. For me, it's like this is a game where the Oilers are not playing great hockey. You could easily take advantage of the fact that, but Connor McDavid's got 1 point. Jacob Slavin's basically put him in his back pocket for a long time. You got that even with Pyotr Kochekov's barely above a 3 goals against. And yes, his save percentage is in the 800s, but it's a high 800s. And that's only because he only faced 19 shots against the Blues and gave up 4 goals. He easily could be above a 9 as well. It's just the unfortunate circumstance of you give up 4 on 19 shots. Yeah, your goals against is going to be in the 7s. But overall, that's not really a game that you really put on him necessarily. So overall, your goaltending is a lot better, and your overall team stats are a lot better than the Edmonton Oilers. So, like I said, if I'm the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm coming to this game ready to go and getting the job done, because you don't want to just you don't want to give McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and those guys opportunities to burn you. And then you're looking at the stats going, okay, why did we lose to a team that statistically across the board are very, very much struggling? And you let their 2 best players control the game, when you, as the Hurricanes right now, have the momentum of the special teams, of the fact that you've scored 3 power play goals in the last 2 games. Your PK is 9 for 9 in the last 2 as well. And overall, you're scoring more, you're giving up less, and you have goaltending that's should be far superior compared to what the Edmonton Oilers have. Yeah, they made the Stanley Cup last year, but that's when Stuart finally figured out how to play hockey. Now he hasn't, again, to start the season, and Calvin Pickard's not doing any better. So, like I said, if you're going to roll with Frederick Anderson or Pyotr Kochekov in this game, this is one where, quality over quantity of shots and just being able to play your game, which we'll talk about here in segment 3 of the keys to the game. But if I'm the Carolina Hurricanes, I come into this game and put the boot on the throat early, keep the foot on the gas, and absolutely just run through Edmonton, because this is one where, like I said, you win this game, you go into Calgary Thursday feeling pretty good. You're facing one of the top 3 teams in the league. You just took care of their, in-province counterparts in Edmonton soundly. You're going into Calgary feeling pretty good about yourselves. But yeah, overall, in terms of the preview in this game, McDavid leads the team in points, but it's all assists. And in terms of team stats, you're a whole lot better than they are across the board. Got to take advantage of that. So that's it for the preview. We are going to go to the keys of the games and the players to watch. So stick around, as I'll do that here in a second on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for candidates isn't a search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. So ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. One thing I like about Indeed is the fact that I can upload my resume, be able to add in all of my certifications, certificates, anything you really need to help yourself be able to find the job that you're looking for. And if you're a business owner, the more you use Indeed, the more it helps you out, because by leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. The more you use Indeed, the better it gets. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. And then once again, that is Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? Well, you need Indeed. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. And we're going to jump into the keys and players to watch for this game. And for me, I've been saying this for a bit, limit the penalties, man. Yes, you're 9 for 9 on the penalty kill, but you cannot give the Edmonton Oilers any opportunities. Yes, I know right now Edmonton's power play is absolutely beyond awful at 6.7%. You do have a penalty kill. It's an 83.3%. It is 12th best in the league. But you still got McDavid. You still got Draisaitl. You still got Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman, and you go on down the list. Limit the opportunities to give them more times to have the puck, because Shane Gostisbehere, all of them said it during St. Louis, took way too many penalties in the second period. Yeah, they didn't score on you, but you had all their best players have the puck a lot in that period. You threw yourself out of whack where you were a really good 5-on-5 team. If I'm the Hurricanes, like I said, it's might be a theme all season, but stay out of the box, especially against a team that can really turn it on and kind of surprise you out of the gate with a fast power play, especially with the two guys they have on that side that could absolutely kill you. So if I'm the Hurricanes, limit the penalties to a very minimum. I would say 2, maybe 3, and even then it's a lot. I would say as long as you're staying around 2 or less, you're going to put yourself in a good spot for that. And even then, too, it's one of those things where you got to go and your top line has got to get rolling. Seth Jarvis has got some points. Yes, Andrei Svechnikov has scored. Sebastian Aho has scored, but was an empty netter. So I feel like Andrei Svechnikov and Seth Jarvis have been kind of all over the ice and doing a lot more. I think Sebastian Aho, yes, he's had a slow start, but I really think he needs to start picking it up as well. And that's one of the things where you cannot keep relying on your fourth line to score goals for you. Yes, it's good to have that depth scoring with Jackson Blake and what he's doing along with Jack Drury and Eric Robinson. And, the third line's doing their job as well. But if I'm the Hurricanes, I really got to get that top 6 rolling. KK's had a lot of good chances. Marnichis has scored as well. Jack Roslovic has scored in back-to-back games. You love to see that. The top 6 really has to get going, but definitely I would say that top line has to get rolling as well. And, Sebastian Aho has really got to put that himself into where he's going to take over a game like Connor McDavid. You cannot still be having 1 goal and a couple of assists. Yeah, you got 3 or 4 points. But if you want to be looked at as a superstar and being that guy, you really got to get rolling. And that's thing for me, it's one of those keys of the game where it's like that top line, and more so Sebastian Aho, have to take over a game, and you cannot rely on Shane Gostisbehere scoring every game and Jackson Blake scoring every game and Jack Roslovic. The top 6 overall needs to get going, but I think it's that top line that really needs to be doing that thing as well. And then just the other last one is just playing your game. Play that sound structured defense that's worked against the Edmonton Oilers pretty much almost 9 times out of 10. Where, yeah, you go into Edmonton last year, you kind of get robbed, but you come back and, take care of business when they come to Carolina. And with Jacob Slavin being on the ice, that's someone that's going to be really beneficial to keep, McDavid off the score sheet at least, because every time McDavid's on the ice, against Slavin, he doesn't score. So it's one of those things where if you're the Hurricanes, stick to your 5-on-5. Do not get cute with it. Just play your sound structure defense. Play the way you did against the Pittsburgh Penguins, where you shut down Sidney Crosby to probably one of the worst analytical stats games he's had in pretty much either a long time or his entire career. So if I'm the Canes, keep that structured defense going and making that being your thing. So once again, keys of the game for the Carolina Hurricanes: limit the penalties. Keep it to 2 or less. Top line has to get rolling, especially Sebastian Aho, because you cannot keep relying on your third and fourth lines and your defensemen to continuously score goals for you every single game. You have to take advantage of being those guys and controlling the game and, taking the game in your hands. And then also, lastly, stick to your game. Do not get cute. Play your sound defense that you need to play as to go into Edmonton, win the game, especially where a team stats-wise are 27th or worse against every category outside of faceoffs. You need to take advantage of that, especially with bad goaltending that Edmonton has right now. Players to watch. Obviously, I'm keeping an eye on Shane Gostisbehere. 3 straight games with a goal, back-to-back games with the power play. He is on absolute fire, leads the team in goals. I am definitely keeping my eye on Shane Gostisbehere to see if he goes 4 straight games with a goal. Maybe we get a power play goal out of him too. That'll be 3 straight. That'd be amazing to see. But right now, Shane Gostisbehere has been playing out of his mind in terms of goal scoring. Another one, his defensive partner in Sean Walker. A lot of great defensive plays against the Pittsburgh Penguins, especially shutting down Sidney Crosby when they had that 2-on-1. He played well against the St. Louis Blues. I'd say right now your best defensive pairing in terms of the eye test and analytical-wise is your second pairing with Ghost and Walker. So that Ghost Walker line has been playing really well. So I'm keeping my eyes on those two guys, especially with the defensive play that Walker's been having. I think he's going to have his work cut out for him, especially to take care of McDavid and Draisaitl. But also I'm curious to see what he can do against Nuge and Zach Hyman as well. And like I said, with Ghost, can he keep his scoring touch going as well? And the other guy I'm keeping my eye on, like I said, is Sebastian Aho. You have to take control of this game. You got to put the team on your back. You have to be the guy that's going to put, like I said, if you want to put some points up, at least be a goal and 2 assists or something, or a goal and assist. But be that guy who's going to take over a game and put the team on his back when need be, and be that superstar that you and a lot of fans have been putting on you, that they're saying you are a superstar. You scored all those points last year, but you have to. This is the game where you're going up against the team that everyone's favored to go win the Stanley Cup. Make a statement game out of this one if you're Sebastian Aho. Put the team on your back, take control of this game, and show that, you are a superstar in the NHL, and take care of business against the best of the best in terms of Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. So once again, key players to watch, I think, for this game, it's going to be that defensive pairing of Gostisbehere and Walker in their own rights, and, of course, Sebastian Aho, and how he has to control the game and not have the slow start. He's got to come out firing on all cylinders and take control of this game. So let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me who your players to watch are for the game for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Edmonton Oilers. But thank you to everyone who made Locked On Hurricanes your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey, become a fantasy hockey expert, and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. But that will wrap up a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Thank you to everyone watching and listening. If you want to follow me, I'm at OneTrueZach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. There's a link to share my bio where you can find all of my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com. You can check out everything for the Carolina Hurricanes and all of the Chicago Wolves. They'll be coming up here very, very soon. There's a link tree there's links to listen to my other podcast, the Searchcast, or you can just go into all podcast platforms and on YouTube and look up the Searchcast. For this show, you can just go to there's links to where you can listen and watch as well, but just go to Locked On Hurricanes on all podcast platforms. Leave a 5-star rating review, because if you do, I'll read it on the show. In terms of YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you don't miss a show. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know you like the show as well. We are well over 1,000 subscribers right now. Let's keep that rolling to 2,000, 5,000, even 10,000. Let's keep this train rolling. Share this podcast with other Caniacs who become everydayers just like you, so we can keep the show going. And like I said in the comments, who are your 3 players to watch for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Edmonton Oilers? And what are your keys of the game that you think the Carolina Hurricanes need to do? So drop them in the comments. I would love to see those. But like I said, I hope everyone enjoyed this Tuesday episode of Locked On Hurricanes, especially for it's a preview edition as they play tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern against the Edmonton Oilers on FanDuel Sports Network South. Hope everyone enjoys their Tuesday. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.